The award slips from my hands like my dreams just did. The crystal trophy crashes against Harbor Flame's polished oak floor, shattering into 1,000 pieces that mirror my breaking heart. Nobody even flinches. Their eyes stay glued to the projection screen where my younger brother Landon stands in his pressed Navy suit, pointing at corporate charts with laser precision. The slide reads, Harbor Flame Expansion Strategy, CEO Landon Cole. CEO. My throat closes up as I scan the conference room. Dad beams with pride. Mom clasps her hands like she's watching a wedding. And there's Landon, 31 years old with his fresh MBA, standing at the head of our family table. The spot I've occupied for 7 years of brutal work, building this restaurant from a failing diner into Oregon's most celebrated seafood house. Aaron, Dad says, clearing his throat without taking his eyes off Landon's presentation. You're late. We started the transition meeting without you. Transition meeting? The words taste like poison. You moved this up 2 weeks ago. I've been preparing for tonight's anniversary dinner, our biggest service of the year. Landon clicks to the next slide. Exactly why we need professional leadership now. Anniversary events require strategic thinking, not just cooking. The knife slides between my ribs with surgical precision. Mom leans forward, her smile bright enough to blind me. Honey, we've made Landon the new CEO of Harbor Flame. Effective immediately. We wanted to surprise you during our 15th anniversary celebration. Surprise. I almost laugh, but the sound comes out broken. Just 3 months ago, I stood on stage accepting the Pacific Northwest Culinary Excellence Award for my signature dish, wild salmon with blackberry gastrique. The crowd had exploded in applause, but at our celebration dinner afterward, my parents barely touched their food. It's impressive, Aaron, Dad had said, swirling his wine like he was inspecting it for flaws. But awards don't scale. We need sustainable growth models. They'd raise their glasses to Landon instead, toasting his business acumen and fresh perspective. Never mind that while he was an MBA student in California, I worked 80-hour weeks perfecting recipes, building supplier relationships, and tripling our revenue in 5 years. Now I grip the back of my chair so hard my knuckles turn white. You can't be serious. I have a culinary degree from Johnson & Wales. I built our entire marketing strategy. I tripled our revenue. We appreciate your contributions. Dad's voice drips condescension. You're brilliant in the kitchen. But Landon understands modern business practices. The final insult lands like a slap. You'll stay on as head chef, Mom adds quickly, like she's offering me a gift. Same kitchen responsibilities, just with proper business oversight now. Head chef. As if I haven't been running every aspect of this operation while they played golf at their lake house. As if the James Beard nomination, the glowing reviews, the line of customers wrapping around the block every weekend means nothing compared to Landon's diploma. This is temporary insanity. I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I know every supplier personally, every regular customer, every dish that makes money loses it. Landon sighs dramatically, like I'm a toddler throwing a tantrum. See, Dad? This emotional response proves my point. Business requires objective decision-making, not sentimental attachment to outdated processes. Outdated processes. Like caring about quality. Like knowing that Mrs. Patterson comes every Tuesday for my halibut because it reminds her of her late husband. Like understanding that our success comes from passion, not spreadsheets. I reach into my pocket and pull out my restaurant keys. The metal feels cold against my palm as I place them on the conference table with a deliberate clink. I'm not your employee. I built this brand. Dad frowns. Aaron, don't be dramatic. This isn't personal. Not personal. I laugh, sharp and bitter. You ambushed me during the anniversary I planned. You didn't consult me about changes to the restaurant I've sacrificed everything for. How is that not personal? 3 days later, I discover the depth of Landon's betrayal. I'm grabbing my knife roll from the office when I see his laptop open on the desk, glowing with an email that makes my blood turn to ice. The West Shore Hotel Group logo stares back at me like an accusation. Dear Mr. Cole, we acknowledge receipt of your cancellation notice for the premium catering contract. While disappointed to postpone our $800,000 partnership discussion, we understand your need to restructure operations. We look forward to reviewing your simplified menu proposals when convenient. $800,000. Nearly 30% of our annual revenue, dismissed with a single email. I'd spent an entire year cultivating that relationship, designing seasonal menus, calculating precise food costs that would maintain our quality while ensuring their profit margins. My hands shake as I scroll down, nausea building in my stomach. Regarding your inquiry about modifying Chef Aaron's award-winning seafood offerings, we remain interested in alternatives that maintain the culinary excellence we experienced during our initial tasting. The betrayal cuts deeper than I imagined possible. Just 2 weeks ago, Landon had leaned over my prep station, notebook in hand, asking detailed questions about my blackberry gastrique technique. Teaching me the family secrets, he'd said with that boyish grin that always charmed our parents. Now I understand. He wasn't learning from me. He was planning to replace me entirely, stealing my recipes while plotting my downfall behind closed doors. The next morning, I arrived early for the supplier meeting I wasn't invited to attend. Through the slightly open conference room door, I watched Landon in his charcoal suit, sitting across from Marcus Rodriguez, our fisherman of 6 years, and Eleanor Chun, whose organic farm has provided our vegetables since I joined Harbor Flame. The premium seafood orders simply aren't cost-effective at our current scale, Landon says, sliding glossy folders across the table like he's dealing cards. We're transitioning to Pacific Northwest Wholesale. Their volume discounts will significantly improve our margins. Marcus shifts uncomfortably in his chair. Chef Aaron specifically chose our catch because we guarantee same-day delivery. Your customers taste the difference between fresh and frozen. Our customers want value and consistency, Landon counters smoothly. Similarly, Eleanor will consolidate produce orders through Portland Restaurant Supply. Standardization reduces waste and improves efficiency. Eleanor's weathered hands tighten around her coffee mug. Those heirloom tomatoes Aaron loves come from my greenhouse. They're sweeter than anything you'll get from a distributor because I hand-select each vine. I can't stay silent anymore. I push the door open and 3 heads turn toward me. With my suppliers, I say, walking to stand behind Marcus and Eleanor. The people who helped build our reputation for excellence. Landon sighs. Aaron's having difficulty accepting our new direction. Please direct all future correspondence to me. I reach for the folder in front of Marcus, my heart sinking as I flip through mock-ups of new menus. My award-winning salmon with blackberry gastrique, gone. My cedar plank halibut with lemon oil, erased. In their place sit generic descriptions, grilled fish special, and catch of the day. The staff meeting feels like a public execution. 23 employees cram into Harbor Flame's back dining room, nervous energy crackling through the air like static electricity. Landon stands at the head of the table, my usual spot, wearing a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. We're implementing exciting changes to position Harbor Flame for explosive growth, he announces, clicking to his first PowerPoint slide. The new logo looks like every chain restaurant in America, sterile, corporate, soulless. But the salmon with blackberry gastrique is our most requested dish, protests Carmen, our head server of 4 years. Customers drive from Seattle just for that. Landon's smile tightens. The new menu prioritizes efficiency and scalability. We can't be held hostage to one chef's personal preferences. Like I'm some temperamental artist instead of the person who built this restaurant's entire reputation. The changes hit like a tsunami. Within 3 days, regular customers start questioning servers about missing favorites. Mr. and Mrs. Yamamoto, who've celebrated their anniversary here for 8 years, leave without ordering when told my miso-glazed black cod is no longer available. What happened to the soul of this place? Mrs. Yamamoto asks Carmen, her voice heavy with disappointment. And Landon's response is always the same. Blame the kitchen staff. The execution in the back of the house isn't meeting our new standards, he tells disappointed customers, throwing my team under the bus instead of accepting responsibility for his terrible decisions. The customers revolt faster than I expected. Within a week, our dining room that once buzzed with excitement feels hollow and desperate. Longtime patrons who used to wait 40 minutes for a table now walk in to find empty seats everywhere. Mrs. Patterson, who's come every Tuesday for 3 years, takes one bite of the new catch of the day and pushes her plate away. This isn't the same, she tells Carmen, her eyes filling with tears. Aaron's halibut reminded me of my husband. This tastes like cafeteria food. She leaves a 20 on the table and walks out. I watch through the kitchen window as she pauses on the sidewalk, looking back at Harbor Flame like she's mourning a death. In a way, she is. The reservations book that used to be packed 3 weeks in advance now shows scattered bookings and last-minute cancellations. Couples who planned romantic dinners around my tasting menu leave disappointed, their special nights ruined by Landon's corporate mediocrity. "Where's Chef Aaron?" becomes the most common question our servers hear. And when they explain that I'm still in the kitchen, customers ask to speak with me directly. But Landon has banned me from the dining room during service, claiming my presence confuses the chain of command. I'm trapped in my own kitchen, watching everything I built crumble through a service window while my brother plays CEO with the precision of a wrecking ball. The death blow comes from Portland Eats, the city's most respected food blog. The notification pops up on my phone during prep, and I nearly dropped my knife when I read the headline. Has Harbor Flame lost its soul? The reviewer, Catherine Mills, had previously given us 4 stars and called my cooking transformative. Now she writes with surgical precision. Harbor Flame has abandoned its commitment to culinary excellence in favor of mass-market mediocrity. The signature dishes that once made this restaurant a destination have been replaced by generic offerings that could come from any corporate chain. She continues, the wild salmon that once showcased Pacific Northwest flavors now tastes like it was shipped frozen from Alaska and reheated in a microwave. The service staff, once passionate advocates for Chef Aaron's creations, now apologize for food they clearly don't believe in. The final paragraph twists the knife. One can only assume that the talented chef who earned this restaurant its reputation has either lost his passion or lost his authority. Either way, Harbor Flame is no longer worth the drive across town, let alone across state lines. 3 stars. Down from 4. In the restaurant world, that's a death sentence. Landon finds the review printed and circled on his desk with a note. How's that MBA working out? A concerned employee. I arrive at work to find my professional life systematically dismantled. My precision thermometers, gone. My imported mandolin slicer disappeared. The custom smoker I bought with my own money, relocated to storage. In their place stand 3 identical deep fryers, humming with the romance of a factory. Where's my equipment? I demand when Landon walks through the kitchen. We need more fryer capacity for the new appetizer program, he says without looking up from his tablet. Your specialty tools are in storage. We're prioritizing efficiency over artisanal complexity. Miguel, my sous chef of 3 years, can't meet my eyes. He had the guys move everything this morning. He whispers when Landon leaves. Said we needed to standardize the cooking processes for the expansion. Expansion. Landon's obsession with franchising Harbor Flame across the Pacific Northwest, turning my restaurant into a cookie-cutter chain where any high school graduate can follow picture menus and produce identical plates of mediocrity. That night, I lie awake staring at the ceiling, mentally recreating recipes I've spent years perfecting. For the first time since culinary school, cooking feels like a burden instead of joy. The kitchen that was once my sanctuary has become a battlefield where every dish represents potential conflict. When I suggest finishing the salmon with herb butter, Landon countermands the order minutes later. The recipe specifies olive oil only, he announces to the entire line. Consistency, not creativity. But cooking isn't manufacturing. It's intuition and adaptation and responding to what the ingredients tell you. Landon's standardization strips away everything that makes food worth creating. The breaking point comes during our busiest Saturday service. I'm managing 8 orders when Landon storms into the kitchen, his face red with anger. The halibut for table 12 is taking too long, he shouts over the sizzle of pans. It needs 4 more minutes. I reply, checking the fish with practiced eyes. You can't rush protein. The customer's been waiting 25 minutes. Send it now. It'll be raw in the center. Send it now, or I'll find someone who follows orders. I stare at him, spatula in hand, the entire line watching our confrontation. This is the moment everything crystallizes. I can send out raw fish and destroy my reputation, or I can stand up for the standards that built Harbor Flame's success. I untie my apron and place it on the steel counter. Find someone else, I say, my voice carrying across the kitchen. I won't serve garbage with my name on it. The kitchen falls silent except for the hood vents. Miguel steps forward. If Chef Aaron goes, I go too. 3 line cooks nod and untie their aprons. Carmen, our head server, appears in the kitchen doorway. The dining room wants to know what's happening. Should I tell them we can't finish their food? I look at Landon, his face pale as he realizes the magnitude of his mistake. Tell them, I say, walking toward the exit, that harbor flame just lost its flame. Miguel finds me at my apartment 2 hours later, still wearing his chef's coat. The whole service collapsed, he says, settling onto my couch with a beer. Landon tried to finish the orders himself. Burned everything. Customers walked out without paying. I stare at the stack of culinary magazines on my coffee table, each one featuring articles about chefs who built empires from nothing. Maybe I should have stayed. I tried to make it work. For what? To watch him destroy everything you built. Miguel shakes his head. You know what Eleanor told me when I stopped by her farm this morning? She said quality recognizes quality. When you're ready to cook again, she'll be ready to supply you. The seed plants itself at that moment. Not going back to Harbor Flame, but building something new. Something of mine. That night, I called Marcus, our fisherman. Aaron, he booms through the phone. Heard about what happened. Landon's been calling, trying to renegotiate our contract. I told him to stuff it. Marcus, I'm thinking about starting fresh. New restaurant. Same standards. The line goes quiet for a moment. You know that spot in the Pearl District? The one where Coastal Kitchen used to be? It's been empty for 6 months. Great bones, just needs the right vision. I grab a pen and start taking notes. By midnight, I have a list of 20 suppliers, 15 staff members, and 3 potential investors who've approached me over the years. People who believed in my food, not Harbor Flame's name. The next morning, I made my first call. James Thornton's office overlooks the Willamette River, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Portland's skyline like a postcard. He's been funding successful restaurants for 15 years, and his backing can make or break dreams. I've been following your career since you won the Pacific Northwest Award, he says, leaning back in his leather chair. That salmon dish was remarkable. How did you develop the blackberry gastrique? I walk him through the technique, explaining how I balance sweet and tart, how the timing has to be perfect. His eyes light up as I describe the careful reduction process, the way the sauce coats the fish like liquid silk. Most chefs talk about ingredients, he says, sliding my business plan across his mahogany desk. You talk about relationships. With your food, your suppliers, your customers. That's what builds lasting success. My heart hammers as he flips through my financial projections, my menu concepts, my staffing plan. Everything I've dreamed about building, laid out in black and white. Your track record speaks for itself, James continues. But what happened at Harbor Flame tells me you're ready to lead, not just cook. How soon can you secure a location? I pull out my phone and show him photos of the Pearl District space Marcus mentioned. I have a meeting with the landlord tomorrow. The previous restaurant closed 6 months ago, but the kitchen equipment is still intact. James grins and extends his hand. Let's make this happen. Welcome to the Thornton Restaurant Group family. Walking out of his building, I feel like I'm floating. For the first time in months, the future looks bright instead of broken. The empty restaurant space echoes with possibility. Dust motes dance in the afternoon sunlight streaming through tall windows, and I can already see customers filling the dining room that currently holds only my dreams. The previous tenant left everything, says the property manager, gesturing at the pristine kitchen visible through an open archway. 6-burner range, convection ovens, walk-in coolers. You just need to update the decor and you're ready for business. I run my hand along the steel prep counter, imagining my team working here. Miguel plating his perfect garnishes. Carmen greeting customers who come for the food, not corporate efficiency. A place where creativity matters more than cost-cutting. The location's perfect, I tell him. High foot traffic, plenty of parking, close to the business district for lunch service. I pull out my checkbook. I'll take it. That evening, I spread blueprints across my kitchen table and start sketching changes. An open kitchen so customers can watch the artistry. A chef's counter for intimate tasting menus. Local artwork on exposed brick walls. Miguel stops by with takeout containers of pad thai and finds me surrounded by interior design magazines. What are you thinking for the name? He asks, settling into my spare chair. I point to a sketch on the table. Coalfire. My last name, but also the intensity one want to bring. Controlled fire that transforms ingredients into something magical. He nods approvingly. When do we start hiring? The we makes me smile. Next week. But Miguel, I can't pay what Harbor Flame was paying. Not at first. Money isn't everything, he says, opening the pad thai. Respect is. And you've always respected your team more than Landon respects his own family. Word travels fast in Portland's restaurant community. By Thursday, my phone buzzes with calls from former Harbor Flame customers asking when Coal Fire will open. Food bloggers want exclusive previews. The city's culinary scene is watching, waiting to see if I can rebuild what I lost. Meanwhile, Harbor Flame's social media pages fill with questions. Where's Chef Aaron? When will the salmon dish come back? Why does everything taste different now? Carmen, who quit Harbor Flame the day after I left, sends me screenshots of the reviews piling up on Yelp. 2 stars. 1 star. Food has no soul anymore. Overpriced mediocrity. Bring back the real chef. The most devastating review comes from a food critic in Seattle. Harbor Flame has committed culinary suicide. Whatever magic once made this restaurant special has been systematically eliminated in favor of chain restaurant blandness. The salmon tastes like it was cooked by someone who learned cooking from a corporate manual rather than understanding the soul of the ingredient. Eleanor texts me that afternoon. Landon called 3 times trying to get heirloom tomatoes at wholesale prices. I told him specialty ingredients require specialty relationships. Those are reserved for chefs who appreciate craftsmanship. I smile at her message. The network I built over 7 years is holding strong, choosing quality over convenience, relationship over transactions. That night, I get a call that changes everything. Chef Cole, this is Patricia Williams from West Shore Hotel Group. We've been trying to reach you. My heart stops. Patricia was my main contact for the $800,000 catering contract Landon destroyed. The deal that could have secured Harbor Flame's financial future while maintaining our culinary standards. We received some confusing communications from your brother regarding menu modifications, she continues. But frankly, we were hoping to work directly with you. Your reputation precedes you, and after that disaster at Harbor Flame's recent event. What disaster? Landon attempted to recreate your signature dishes for a private dinner we held there last week. The results were unfortunate. The blackberry gastrique was grainy, oversweetened. The salmon was overcooked. 3 board members sent their plates back untouched. I closed my eyes, imagining Landon trying to execute techniques he'd only observed, failing spectacularly in front of the very clients I'd spent a year courting. We understand you're opening a new establishment, Patricia continues. Would you be interested in discussing an exclusive catering partnership? We're talking about a $600,000 annual contract, with potential for expansion. $600,000. More than I'd originally negotiated with Harbor Flame. I'd be very interested in that conversation. Excellent. Our board meets next Thursday. Can you prepare a tasting menu showcasing your signature style? After I hang up, I sit in my empty apartment, staring at the business plans spread across my table. Everything is coming together faster than I dared hope. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Aaron, please call me. We need your help. Mom. I delete the message without responding. The construction crew arrives at Coal Fire on Monday morning, ready to transform the space into my vision. I stand in the middle of what will become the dining room, watching workers hang Edison bulb fixtures and install exposed brick accent walls. Miguel surveys the kitchen, nodding approvingly at the equipment layout. This is going to be beautiful, he says. When do you want to start menu development? Today. I pull out my recipe notebook, pages filled with dishes I've been perfecting for years, but never had the freedom to serve. We're going full season. Spring menu launches in 2 weeks. Carmen arrives with coffee and pastries from our favorite bakery. The reservation system goes live tomorrow, she reports. I've already got 50 people on the waiting list just from word of mouth. The front door chimes and I look up to see Eleanor approaching with a basket of early spring vegetables, tiny potatoes, delicate lettuce, the first asparagus of the season. Opening gifts, she says with a grin. These came off the plants this morning. This is what Landon never understood. Food isn't just business, it's relationships, trust, shared passion for excellence. These people didn't just supply Harbor Flame, they became part of our family. And that loyalty follows the chef, not the building. My phone rings. Dad's number. I let it go to voicemail, then play the message. Aaron, Harbor Flame is struggling. Landon made some mistakes. We should talk. Some mistakes. Like that's what you call demolishing 7 years of careful relationship building and reputation management. Thursday morning, my parents showed up at coal fire unannounced. I'm in the kitchen, prepping for the West Shore tasting, when Carmen appears in the doorway looking uncomfortable. Your family's here, she says quietly. Should I tell them you're busy? I wash my hands and walk into the dining room, where Mom and Dad stand looking around at the construction. Dad wears his disappointed father expression, while Mom clutches her purse like it might escape. This is smaller than I expected, Dad says, his voice carrying the condescension I remember from childhood. Risky location too. The Pearl District is oversaturated with restaurants. We came to make you an offer. Mom jumps in quickly. Equal partnership at Harbor Flame. You and Landon can share leadership responsibilities. I almost laughed. Where's Landon? Too proud to come himself. They exchange glances. He's dealing with some operational challenges, Dad admits. The transition has been more difficult than anticipated. Operational challenges. Code for everything is falling apart, and we need you to fix it. Here's my counteroffer, I say, walking to the window where workers are installing the coal fire sign. Nothing. I'm done rescuing your mistakes. This is about family legacy, Dad protests. Your grandfather started with a little diner. We built Harbor Flame together. No, you built it with my labor while planning to replace me with your favorite son. Now live with that choice. Mom steps forward, tears in her eyes. Aaron, please. We made mistakes, but we're trying to fix them. You made choices, I correct. And choices have consequences. Coal fire's soft opening draws lines around the block. Food critics, former Harbor Flame customers, and curious food lovers pack every table. The kitchen hums with the beautiful chaos I've missed. Orders flying, flames dancing, plates going out perfect. I move between stations like a conductor, tasting, adjusting, ensuring every dish meets the standards I've spent years developing. The salmon with blackberry gastrique earns gasps of delight from diners. My new spring vegetable risotto showcases Eleanor's perfect asparagus. In the dining room, Carmen orchestrates service with the grace of a ballet dancer. Customers smile, laugh, and take photos of their food. This is what restaurants should feel like, celebrations of flavor and craftsmanship, not corporate efficiency exercises. Near closing time, I spot a familiar figure at table 7. Catherine Mills from Portland Eats, the blogger who'd written Harbor Flame's obituary. She's taking notes, photographing dishes, clearly working on a review. When she asks to speak with me, I approach her table nervously. Chef Cole, this has been an extraordinary meal, she says, standing to shake my hand. I have to ask, how does it feel to be cooking your own food again? Like coming home, I answered honestly. Like remembering why I became a chef in the first place. The next morning, her review posts with 5 stars and the headline, Phoenix Rising. Aaron Cole's coal fire burns bright. She writes, this is what Portland's dining scene has been missing, passionate, personal cooking that connects diners to the chef's vision. Aaron Cole hasn't just opened a restaurant. He's created an experience. The West Shore tasting happens on a Tuesday afternoon in their executive boardroom. I arrive with Miguel, carrying carefully packed dishes in thermal containers, my heart pounding with nervous excitement. Patricia Williams introduces me to 12 board members, all immaculately dressed executives who hold my restaurant's future in their hands. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Aaron Cole and his signature tasting menu. I present each course personally, explaining the techniques and ingredient sourcing. The wild salmon showcases Marcus's perfect catch. Eleanor's vegetables shine in my spring salad. Every bite represents the relationships and standards I've spent years building. The room falls silent as they eat, executives closing their eyes to focus on flavors. One woman, the CFO, I think, actually moans with pleasure when she tastes the blackberry gastrique. Chef Cole, says the chairman, setting down his fork, this is exactly what we experienced at your previous restaurant. Exceptional quality, innovative technique, flawless execution. He pauses. We'd like to offer you an exclusive catering contract. $600,000 annually, with performance bonuses for exceptional service. My hands shake as I accept the contract folder. $600,000. Financial security for Coal Fire's first 2 years, plus the prestige of serving Portland's most exclusive hotel group. There's one condition, Patricia adds. We require absolute exclusivity. No catering for competing hotels or venues. Done, I say without hesitation. Walking out of that building, contract signed and secured, I feel like I'm flying. Everything I lost at Harbor Flame. Respect, financial security, creative freedom. I've rebuilt bigger and better. The news hits Portland's restaurant community like a tsunami. Coalfire lands exclusive West Shore contract. Headlines read. Aaron Cole's new venture secures major partnership. Food bloggers speculate about Harbor Flame's reaction to losing their biggest potential client. I don't have to wonder for long. Landon calls that evening, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. You can't do this, he says without preamble. That contract belonged to Harbor Flame. That contract belonged to me. I correct. I cultivated the relationship. I designed the menus. I earned their trust through 2 years of consistent excellence. You're destroying the family business out of spite. I'm building my own business based on merit. There's a difference. The local newspapers pick up the story. Chef Aaron Cole's Phoenix rise from family business ashes. The article details my departure from Harbor Flame, Coalfire's instant success, and the West Shore contract that validates everything I've built. Harbor Flame's online reviews continue deteriorating. 2-star averages. Complaints about bland food, poor service, and missing the magic that made the restaurant special. Several reviews specifically mention wanting the real chef back. Eleanor sends me a photo from the farmer's market. Landon wandering between stalls, looking lost, trying to negotiate last-minute produce deals with vendors who've never heard of him. The caption reads, "Some lessons can't be taught in business school." Marcus calls to say Harbor Flame's seafood orders have dropped 70%, and Landon is asking for payment extensions. Hard to justify premium prices for amateur cooking, Marcus says with a chuckle. 6 months after opening Coalfire, I get a call that makes my heart race. The James Beard Foundation wants to discuss my nomination for Rising Chef of the Year. The woman on the phone explains that my innovative approach to Pacific Northwest cuisine and remarkable restaurant launch has impressed the selection committee. I hang up and stare at my reflection in the kitchen's steel surfaces. From family outcast to James Beard nominee in less than a year. The validation feels sweeter than any revenge could. Miguel finds me smiling at my prep station. Good news. The best. I tell him about the nomination and watch his face light up. You deserve this, he says. You've earned every bit of success. That evening, I walk through Coalfire's packed dining room, greeting customers who've become regulars, chatting with first-time diners discovering my food. The energy is electric, joyful, everything a restaurant should be. Near the kitchen, I overhear 2 women discussing their meals. This salmon is incredible, one says. Wasn't this chef at Harbor Flame before? Yes, but he left to start his own place, her friend replies. Best career move ever. The Harbor Flame is terrible now. I don't correct them or insert myself into their conversation. The food speaks for itself, as it always has. Later, alone in my office, I updated Coalfire's business plan. Revenue projections exceed my wildest expectations. The West Shore contract provides stability while walk-in business grows every week. We're booked solid through the holidays. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw the James Beard news. Congratulations. You deserved better from us. Landon. I read it twice, then delete it without responding. Some bridges burn completely, and that's okay. The end comes for Harbor Flame on a gray October morning. Carmen calls me at 5 a.m., her voice breathless with excitement. It's over, she says. Harbor Flame just posted a closure notice on their door. I drive across town to see for myself, parking across the street from the restaurant that once defined my life. A simple white sign in the window reads, Harbor Flame is permanently closed. Thank you for 15 years of support. Through the glass, I can see empty dining rooms, chairs stacked on tables, the kitchen I once commanded dark and silent. Everything I built, everything I lost, now just an empty shell. My phone rings. Mom's number. For the first time in months, I answered. Aaron, her voice is thick with tears. I know you probably don't want to hear from us, but I wanted you to know we're proud of what you've accomplished with Coalfire. The words I've waited years to hear, arriving after they no longer matter. Thank you, I said simply. Your father wants to talk to you about possibly consulting on a new concept. Landon has some investors interested in casual dining. I almost laugh. Even in failure, They can't admit Landon isn't cut out for restaurant leadership. Mom, I'm focused on growing Coalfire. I don't have time for consulting. But family business. My team at Coalfire is my family now. People who believed in me when my actual family chose credentials over competence. The silence stretches long between us. Finally, she sighs. I understand. Take care of yourself, Aaron. After I hang up, I sit in my car watching Harbor Flame's dark windows, feeling nothing but relief. The Pacific Northwest Culinary Awards ceremony takes place at Portland's historic Governor Hotel. I sit at a round table with my Coalfire team, Miguel, Carmen, Eleanor, Marcus, people who believed in quality over convenience, relationships over transactions. When they announce Restaurant of the Year nominees, Coalfire's name echoes through the ballroom. Applause fills the space as our table erupts in celebration. Carmen squeezes my hand, while Miguel grins like he won the lottery. The winner of this year's Restaurant of the Year award, the presenter continues, is Coalfire, led by chef Aaron Cole. The ballroom explodes in applause. I stand on shaking legs, accepting congratulations from competitors and critics alike. Walking to the stage feels surreal, like floating through a dream I never dared imagine. At the podium, I look out at hundreds of faces, chefs, restaurateurs, food writers who've watched my journey from Harbor Flame's ashes to this moment of triumph. The Crystal Award feels solid and real in my hands, unlike that first trophy I dropped in shock. Success isn't just about proving others wrong. I say, my voice carrying clearly through the microphone. It's about proving yourself right. About staying true to your vision when everyone else tells you to compromise. I pause, seeing Eleanor wiping away tears, Marcus nodding proudly, Miguel raising his glass in toast. To my team at Coalfire, you believed in quality when others chose convenience. You chose relationship over transaction. This award belongs to all of us. The crowd rises in standing ovation. Somewhere in that sea of faces, I know Harbor Flame staff are watching, seeing what they lost when they chose an MBA over experience, corporate thinking over culinary passion. Back at Coalfire after the ceremony, we gather around the kitchen's central prep table for an impromptu celebration. The Restaurant of the Year award sits between bottles of champagne Eleanor brought from her vineyard connections. To the chef who never compromised, Miguel toasts, raising his glass high. To the team that made it possible, I counter, clinking glasses with each person who believed in this dream when it was just sketches on my apartment table. Carmen pulls out her phone and shows us the local news coverage. Coalfire's historic win caps remarkable comeback story, reads the headline. The article details my departure from Harbor Flame, the restaurant's subsequent closure, and Coalfire's meteoric rise. Look at this, she says, scrolling to social media comments. Former Harbor Flame customers celebrating your success. People saying they knew you were the real talent all along. The validation feels complete. Not just professional recognition, but personal vindication from customers who experienced the difference between authentic passion and corporate calculation. My phone buzzes with congratulations from chefs across the country, food critics who've followed my career, suppliers who've watched me build something special from nothing. Each message reinforces that success comes from consistency, integrity, and refusing to compromise your standards. Later, cleaning up after the celebration, I find a handwritten note tucked under my knife roll. Thank you for showing us what leadership looks like. Your kitchen family. 1 year after Harbor Flame's closure, I stand in Coalfire's expanded dining room, watching the evening service unfold with practiced perfection. We've grown from 40 seats to 80, hired 6 new staff members, and opened a second location in Seattle. The James Beard nomination became a win 6 months ago. The West Shore contract expanded to include their Seattle and Vancouver properties. Food Network wants to film a documentary about the chef who chose integrity over family business. Miguel approaches with the night's final order tickets. Last tables are finishing dessert, he reports. Another sold-out service. I nod, surveying the dining room filled with happy customers, engaged conversations, the energy that comes from food prepared with genuine care. This is what I always envisioned, not just a restaurant, but a gathering place where culinary artistry creates lasting memories. My phone rings. An unknown number, but I recognize the voice immediately. Aaron, this is Landon. My brother's voice carries none of its former arrogance. He sounds tired, defeated, humbled by failure in ways business school never prepared him for. I wanted to congratulate you on the James Beard win, he continues, and to apologize. I thought I understood business, but I never understood what makes restaurants work. The relationships, the passion, the attention to detail that can't be taught in classrooms. I lean against Coalfire's host station, watching Carmen seat the last customers of the evening. What do you want, Landon? Nothing, he says, surprising me. Just to acknowledge that you were right. About quality, about relationships, about what makes food special. I destroyed something beautiful because I thought efficiency mattered more than excellence. The admission feels anticlimactic after everything that happened. Where are you now? Consulting for restaurant chains. Teaching them operational efficiency. He laughs bitterly. Ironic, right? I'm good at the business side when there's no creative component to destroy. After we hang up, I walk through Coalfire's kitchen, checking that everything is properly cleaned and stored. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new dishes to perfect, new customers to delight. But tonight, I'm exactly where I belong, surrounded by the team I chose, in the restaurant I built, serving food that reflects my uncompromising standards. Sometimes the biggest favor someone can do is underestimate you. It forces you to prove your true worth, not just to them, but to yourself. The last customer leaves with a smile, promising to return next week. I lock the front door and turn off the lights, leaving only the soft glow of the Coalfire sign illuminating the empty dining room. My restaurant, my team, my success, built from the ashes of betrayal into something better than I ever imagined possible.